Hi, dear listeners of Fossack TV. I thought of doing a video editorial this time because I'm really running out of my time to write a good piece. Of course, my concern is with the Indian lefts and the way they have been behaving recently over US-India nuclear deal. The whole thing is disastrous as well as its consequence will be too high on India's future generation. Now, I like to mention why Indian leftists are losing ground. I mean, if you look very carefully, among the new Indian generation, even the people who are software engineers, I would say the very high level intellectual, but on a broad spectrum of the Indian youth, the leftist ideology is completely dying, and this is not a denying fact. I mean, Prakash Karat may say anything, but the fact is very simple. Leftist ideology have failed to attract young Indian minds, and this is a confirmed fact as we are seeing it today. Question is why? Why more and more Indian youths are getting attracted to the right-wing ideology of BJP when many of them are very well rationalist and may not align themselves completely with the right-wing ideology of the BJP. Okay, to start with, in the matter of ideological politics, when you do politics based on ideology because you believe that that ideology will promise you heaven either on the earth or on the afterlife, I mean, I'm talking about communism versus any religious ideology, but the matter is same, both offers a kind of heaven on the earth or afterlife. The real problem is everything of such kind of ideology is based on lies and deception. Now, in the matter of leftists, Indian lefts, their ideology or their principles are deeply rooted in the writings of Lenin. Unfortunately, it is not in the writing of Sir Karl Marx. Indeed, for many of you who don't know, even Karl Marx was so frustrated by the Russian nihilists. That time he didn't know who the Lenin was, but he knew and you were aware of the Russian nihilist using Marxism as a pretext for social change. He wrote two articles, and in both he wrote very clearly if this is the way people want to twist around the Marxism, he's afraid the scientific element of the Marxism will be lost sooner or ever. Now, the reason I'm saying this because the Leninist writing has a very deep impact on this present discussion of US-India nuclear deal, and much has to do with the fact that Prakash Karat's sole opposition has to do with the fact that US is an imperialistic power. And the very idea of imperialism essentially originated from a Leninist famous writing on basically what he wrote is about the imperialism in 19th century and the beginning of 20th century as a capitalist expansion for the market. Now here is the problem. I mean, Lenin didn't follow the method of Marxism, which is dialectic materialism, and if you go by his writing, it is clearly unscientific. So what he wrote about imperialism, this has an element of truth, but having an element of truth in observation does not necessarily transgress into a scientific laws or to a status of infallible laws of social science. I mean, the matter of the fact that the way the capitalist world changes itself with the innovation is amazing. I mean, just think, the innovation of the internet is probably the greatest revolution or greatest socializing effect or the greatest effort towards the socialization and classless society. The way internet is making the whole world flat and basically breaking into the barrier of everything. So the basic thing that I want to promote is, even if let's say if you consider that the internet is an invention of capitalism and you say that internet is basically is for imperialism, then you are absolutely wrong. You can apply the same logic to the nuclear power. Actually, it is a civilian nuclear power. The fact is, India needs civilian nuclear power as much as France was requiring, as much as Japan was requiring it. And if the advanced country like France and Japan are using it, there is absolutely no reason why India cannot use it. And at least India should be able to make 30 to 40% of its power from civilian nuclear power. Now, leftists are saying that is impossible, and that is something really bothering me, because in France it is 80%, in Japan it is close to 70%. So why in the case of India, given a sufficient amount of time, we won't be able to make 30 to 40% of the nuclear power? Okay, you may say that even the leftists are not opposing to that either. Their principal opposition is that we cannot have any kind of alignment with United States, and that is what really regrettable, because a contract between any two countries are made on win-win situation. But anyhow, the fact is, right now, with the fact everybody knows that 123 agreement does not have any element of what you call imperialism, because only thing it probably asks to the party, the signing party, is that they should not be involved in any kind of terrorist activities or any kind of terrorist group against United States. And if you say that that much amount of restriction on foreign policy is a kind of intervention into your foreign affairs, then the matter is very laughable. Well, the matter of fact is, right now, as you can see, the Prakash Karath have failed to defend in any debate, and he says it doesn't matter, I'm opposing because I do not want any alignment with the United States. And this is very dangerous, because see, at the end of the day, because of his ideological chances, he is destroying India's future. So one thing should be pretty clear and pretty sure, that Indian leftists have failed to recognize that with this kind of behavior you cannot inspire a young generation who are aspiring for growth of India, who aspire for wealth, who aspire for a brighter India. And you are telling that because of an ideological stance which is based on lies written by Lenin, and which is basically has been completely outdated in the face of new technology, you are forcing a whole country into darkness. And there is no doubt, if this trend continues, the young generation of India will be more and more frustrated with the leftist ideology. Worst, most of the Indian youths are considering Indian leftists are not to be leftist at all. For example, the way they treated with Taslima Nasrin, she has to leave India at the threat of Islamic radical. And we know that time Biman Bose told it is better for Taslima to leave. Sitaram Yechuri told we have nothing to do with it. And this kind of response from a leftist was a complete disgusting. It clearly shows that basically they have no sympathy, nothing for actual ideology either, even if I do not believe in any kind of ideological based politics. Now, coming down to the fact that do they have any concern for poor people, I really don't need to explain that thing in further. Anybody who is familiar with West Bengal knows very well the CPM has unleashed a reign of terror in West Bengal, and most of its politicians are actually benefactors of land acquisition and industrialization. Anyhow, I'm not really going into that depth, but the matter of fact is, today's Indian leftists are a complete failure either to protect their ideology or to adopt to their ideology to a new world which they are not seeing that is coming. And I believe if this continues, sooner or later, in another 3 or 4 elections, Indian leftists will be completely obliterated. And that's my prediction.